There's a bunch of crazy stories written by the Brothers Grimm. And now you're gonna learn all about them, listening to the Brothers Dim.
Students and scholars, friends and relations, welcome to the Brothers Dim podcast, a fanciful romp through the original Little Golden Books, the often disparate and sort of but not really children's stories collected and published by the Brothers Grimm in the early 1800s in Germany, including today's story, Grimm number 85, The Gold Children. My name is Phil.
And my name is Mike.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It was my kid's third birthday this
And
weekend.
happy birthday to the kid. Dude, 3 years.
I know.
We
It's
started
crazy.
this because you had a baby and you were reading him Grimm's fairy tales.
Grimm's, yeah,
and you were
before
like,
he
hey,
knew.
do you want to do a podcast about these? And I was like, sure.
It has been a wild ride. Both the kid and the Brothers Dim podcast, of course.
Yeah.
How are your kids doing?
Mel's going to have some ankle surgery, but
Oh,
we're getting ready for that. It's a correct partial bone fusion that he's had since birth. But like,
All right, well,
when you
still-
get to this age, like it tends to start causing pain. So
all right. Well,
I'll go fix it.
I hope he fares well with pre-graduating high school foot surgery.
I think it'll
Now-
be good.
Not to gross them out, but I was hoping that you might be able to share some sordid details about the day that they were conceived. Doesn't have to be positions or anything.
Just before I came up to record, my wife and I ended up making like stupid innuendos. It's like
Okay.
occasionally, like especially when kids get older, like sometimes it's funny to just freak them out and
Oh,
make
sure.
bad innuendos and make them go, "What?" So it's funny you raise that because we just did that. I don't
All
remember
right, so-
exactly what it was, but it was clever. But yeah, they know this, but the key for us was Rock Band and Scotch.
Some
Good
rock,
scotch.
rock band chill and drinking scotch. Very good. Then I was curious, but it sounds like not. If a talking fish had anything to do with them coming into being.
No, they were both birthed in birthing pools in the living room,
Oh,
but
really?
there was no fish.
Neat.
Yeah.
Okay. We went to a hospital like
Like normal people.
like normal people. But no child is perfect, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there was a pool, there was a big body of water, but there was no fish.
That's
Maybe,
well
maybe a little poop,
probably
but it wasn't cold.
probably good then that there was not a fish in
No.
that pool that was in your living room. I don't think the fish would have been happy with it.
No, I
but,
don't think it would have been.
Do you have a grade?
This one, it was an amalgamate. I mean, we'll find this soon, but it was an amalgamation of stuff we've already seen before, and I think we've run into these lately. So I went with a solid C minus.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been done better elsewhere.
Same thing. I gave it a C, it's average. The story's split in half. Neither story has much to do with the other. And I try
Right.
not to compare the stories to other stories where the same plot points play out, or it's the same ATU types. But this one is a classic. Not only have we seen better versions before, but one of my favorite stories that we ever did was a better version of the second part of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we can talk about it later, but the
Yeah,
two
yeah,
brothers.
the two brothers, exactly. So, anyways, without further ado, and if you please, I will take us through the plot of Grimm's story 85, The Gold Children.
Yes.
Once upon a time, there was a poor fisherman and his poor wife who lived in a crap sack down by the sea.
I've never heard that term before.
Dude goes out fishing, catches himself a magic golden fish, a wish-giving fish, in fact, and the fish says, "Hey, if you let me go, I'll set you up in a sweet castle with unlimited food and whatever else you want. And the only thing is you can't tell your wife that you caught me and that I'm the reason that all this stuff came around." So the guy says, "Great." So he lets the fish go and he goes back home to his new castle, and the wife just bugs and bugs and bugs him about where the fuck did the money come from, till he says, "Okay, fine." And he tells her. And then as soon as he does, and their castle immediately turns back to the crap shack. So back to fishing he goes, and he catches the wish fish again. The same beats play out. He gets the castle, not allowed to tell the wife where the money came from. She pesters him until he eventually does tell her, and then he loses the castle again. Third time's the charm, though, so back to fishing he goes. He catches the fish again. Finally, the fish says, "Look, you're clearly going to catch me again. I'm going to give you the castle. And you're going to tell your wife, and then lose the castle, and then it's back to catching me again. So screw it. I give up, but I'm going out with a bang. So here's what you do. You kill me. You cut me into 6 pieces. You bury 2 of them. You give 2 pieces to your wife to eat, and then you give 2 to your mare. So if you do all that, and I shall bring you a blessing." he does as the fish bids, plants 2 pieces of the fish in the ground where 2 golden lilies grow. And the wife gives birth eventually to twins with golden skin and golden hair, and his horse gives birth to 2 golden horses. So kids grow up, they are quite handsome and made of gold, like Adam Warlock from the Marvel Comics.
Ah, yes.
So they grow up and they decide they need to, they're old enough. It's time for them to set forth into the world. And at first the parents are worried, but the kids say they don't worry though. The golden lilies are linked to us. And as such, if we're doing good, so will the golden lilies. But if they die, you'll at least know that we're dead. You won't have to worry. And off they go. For about 2 sentences, they travel before one of the brothers gets cold feet and rides back home because some rednecks made fun of him. He's like, I don't like it. These people are mean to me. And he goes back home to dad. But the other brother says he realizes, though, it's dangerous to flaunt your wealth out here. So he covers himself in bear skins to make himself look poor. Rides out even further, eventually coming to a town, meeting a comely maiden fair, and woos her and marries her. Apparently in an afternoon, because the dad who was out comes home and sees this bearskin wearing vagabond. He's not happy at first, but then eventually he peeps through a keyhole at night and he says, oh no, he's made out of gold. Okay. And the horse is made out of gold. This is fine.
He's on the up and up.
He's this kid. It's just, he's wearing bearskins. That's what the kids are doing these days, I guess. But, so he's married. Everyone's happy. But the young groom has a dream of going out on a great hunt where he sees a splendid stag and he decides that's what he wants to do for real. He wants to go hunting. Wife tries to beg him off, but he insists. Travel for weeks and he'll see the stag, but he never catches it. Finally, though, he comes to a house, and who should live there but a witch with a little dog that comes out yipping up a storm. And the guy threatens the dog and says, get that odious toad away from me. And the witch says, ah, hell no, curses him to turn into stone. The other brother, now back at home, notices the lily has drooped, which means something terrible happened to the other son. So he rides out through the dark forest, finds the witch, and says, if you don't turn my brother back, I'm going to shoot you dead with this arrow. And she's annoyed, but she does it because he stands 10 feet back. Can't reach him to curse
out of range
him.
of her spell.
Out of range of the spell. And then the other brother turns back and is alive, and there was much rejoicing. Brother 1 goes back to his wife. Brother 2 goes back home to his dad, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. Mike, do you have a moral for this story?
So for my moral for the first half is be pious and humble and welcoming.
Okay.
For the second one, I don't have a moral.
Right.
In fact, I wrote I don't have any moral for the second half. In fact, it completely did not need to happen.
So it's split, right? I don't know if I guess they lived happily ever after. Like, it's something about lying to your wife.
Yeah,
but I don't really know which side Grimm's taken. They're like,
right.
It works out well
guy?
for them. Yeah, like where he lies and he gets the castle, and then by lying they live a nice life, but they don't have the kids yet.
Yeah,
and then the second one, I could have gone back to one of our former podcasts and looked up what we said the moral for the second part was, but I didn't do that. So yes. Speaking of that, ATU type 303, Two Brothers, which was story 60, where this one's about as close as you can get with their twins. They're connected to a magical object where the one can see what the other brother's up to, or at least their status, and then they get separated and have some adventures. But where in story 60 had one of the brothers go fight a dragon, and both of the brothers befriended a bunch of animals that they had bears and lions and all these sorts of things as companions. Those brothers split up in the magical animals and go have an adventure. They have presumably of equal status, but these two, one just gets made fun of and cries that people are being mean to him and runs back home to go be a neat.
Well, they lived a very sheltered life.
Yeah.
What with being gold and all.
Shipping gold chunks out, let me just get a toe. That would set me up for life.
So that's what I was expecting at first. I was expecting it. I mean, and this would be very grim. Is like they go through the whole thing. The lilies grow. The horses are birthed. The kids are birthed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And through as time goes on, the husband and wife, they don't manage money very well, so they sell one of the lilies, and then that money runs out, so they sell the other lily, and then they sell one of the horses, and then one of the other horses, and then they're like, I guess we have to sell one of the children. Before long, they have nothing left, and they're destitute again. That's what I was expecting, and then it just turned into the two brothers instead.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst pitch if that was where you're going with that, but I didn't know. I wasn't, I mean, as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oh, it's the two brothers. Sweet, which isn't even, I mean, it wasn't even that long ago. I suppose, like, I don't know when we released that
Yeah, that was
podcast.
60, yeah.
Even the story with the witches kind of slapdash, where the dog's just
Yeah.
yipping at the guy, and brother one insults the dog. And there's no danger at all with brother two. Like, they just had to wrap it up. They were running out of page.
Oh, look at the
space or
time.
something.
Bar's closing.
Yeah. Bar's closing. And then, and then the brother two came and saved the day. The end.
I was telling Elliot about this, and we on YouTube watch, there's a channel called Screen Rants,
Okay.
and there's a guy who does these things called pitch meetings. Like, he's comically presenting like what a pitch meeting looked like for certain movies or TV shows, and it's just him talking to himself back and forth. But he's like, in doing so, he's highlighting all the like inaccuracies and weirdness of the plot and all the plot holes and stuff. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about that.
There was a Key and Peele sketch about the pitch meeting for Gremlins 2.
Oh, I think I saw that.
Yeah, where like he's like one of them was like, okay, guys, I think we can just do the normal thing. Gremlins 1 was great, and then this other guy walks in and he's just like, okay, now everyone gets to make up a gremlin. Anything you want. I'm a sequel specialist.
Oh god, yeah, that was good.
Turning back to the stories, just
the first brother goes through all these trials and tribulations, and then gets bailed out by the second brother, who's timid and cowardly, doing all of that in the blink of an eye with no issues. And he just like walks up to the witch and he's like, hey, can I get my brother back? She's like, okay.
He doesn't even have adventures. All he does is he puts on some bearskins and then marries the first girl he meets.
Right.
And the most that happens there is the dad doesn't like him at first, but then he likes him. Which is
it did sound like
quite
they
a few
were
of the
very much in
relationships
love.
I've been in. No, that's
including
not
the
true.
bearskins.
No bearskins, and all parents adored me. Oh, except for my first real girlfriend's mom. She hated me.
The only one who knew the truth.
Okay, so that was ATU Type 303, the two brothers. There was also, of course, then ATU Type 555, the fisherman and his wife, also seen in Grimm story number 19, the fisherman and his wife. And as I kind of said, they just sort of slapped these two together. And fisherman and his wife, he goes and finds a magic fish. And in that one, if you recall, it was the woman kept on saying, no, go back again and wish for...
Oh, yeah.
It's more instead of just a nice house instead of the shack, wish for a mansion, and then go back and be a castle, and then go be a king, and then finally you be the pope.
I want to be the pope.
I want to be the pope. Due to Jacob and Wilhelm's hilariously weird idea about what the hell the Catholic Church was, or
continues to be a mine of just comedy after comedy. Wasn't it her that wanted to be the pope?
She wanted to be the pope, yeah.
Which 2025, I believe we still have not had a woman pope.
I don't think you can.
I mean,
technically, I guess you could, but
I'm sure it's a rule somewhere. But
it's
I don't think it's on the horizon.
100% it's a rule, but well, maybe not. I guess to get elected pope, real quick. Technically, I think anyone can be elected pope by the cardinals.
So you're saying I've got a chance?
You do have it. Well, you have to be you just have to be a Catholic man. That's it. But the cardinals sort of only like raising one of their own.
Yeah.
So you have to become a cardinal, and to do that, you have to become a bishop, and to do that, you have to become a priest, and to do that, you have to be a Catholic. I think you're out of luck there.
Seems like that's a long game.
It's a really long game, which is why
just to get a pope mobile.
Yeah, which is why the popes are all kind of old. Like they.
Yeah. It's not a young man's game.
And it's only one person in the whole world gets to be the Pope of the Catholic Church, leading 1 billion people. So it's even more prestigious than being a senator. It's that's 100 people get to do that.
Speaking of Catholic, you glossed over it, but when the two brothers are reunited, when the first one is turned from stone back to gold, more fun Mary Hunt translations. They kiss and caress each other.
Yeah,
which just sounds an awful lot like making out.
It sounds an awful lot like someone did drinking scotch and
playing rock band.
A
little bit of kissing, a little bit of caressing.
A little bit of smooching.
Pull the goalie.
A little cousin loving like they in the TV show Fallout.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to season 2.
I am also looking forward to watching season 2. Not, as we said, not a lot of not a lot of research going on with this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I think because all the research we've read in the past have been about the component bits. Like there's a few variations of the golden fish out there. Fisherman catches a fish, there's some sort of wish, the wish goes away. And there's no lesson really learned.
Do it 3 times.
The brothers have like 1,000,001 variations though, I did see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And again, Story 60 was one of my just absolute favorite stories that we've read. Although what's also kind of weird is that a lot of the variation, I noticed this, a lot of the variations do have the fish in it. It's the fish story and the brothers story combined, but just in a completely different language or just a different sort of folktales. But again,
weird.
There's a Spanish one I saw that hits the same beats as this, but the Adventure Brother plot has them running off to go fight a 7-headed dragon, among other things, and becomes like a knight of the fish, where the fish knights him, and it's this whole thing, but it's super good. Which like that's all I really want. They've got to do some of this.
All you need is a drunk lion, really.
Yeah, get yourself a drunk lion, get yourself a bear that's kind of lazy or something like that. You know, all sorts of magical animals, dragons eating princesses, and that'll put a bunch of meat in the seats, as it were, as you get hungry for treats down in the lobby. Do you have any other notes? I didn't come up with much.
Don't. Yeah, as you said, like pretty much all the research is, they stuck the fisherman and his wife to the two brothers, and that's it.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know if it was Jacob or Wilhelm. One of the Grimm brothers was all just like, yeah, basically we just stuck those two together. We needed another story. Oh yeah, somewhere.
I didn't come across that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that's what we totally did. We changed it just enough that it counts as a new story.
We needed to pad the numbers.
Well, if you don't have any other notes, did you come up with a little plot for us for our own variation? Okay,
I did. I went a little off script here.
Sure.
And I came up with a Simpsons episode.
Okay.
A new Simpsons episode.
Sure.
New, in quotes. Yeah. All right. So Mr. Burns is caught dumping toxic waste and is sued by the town.
All right.
They win handily, and he's forced to pay. But as a result of that, he decides he has to sell off the nuclear power plant. He's going to sell it to an environmentalist who's going to raise it and build a nature preserve.
Okay.
Which Lisa's very excited about. Homer realizes he's going to lose his job. And it's the only thing he knows how to do. And he doesn't even know how to do that. So,
and despite the many other jobs.
Right.
That he's
in order to save his job, I'm glossing over it.
Yeah.
In order to save his job, Homer goes on a hunger strike, trying to prevent it. Ultimately, he's unsuccessful, though. He finds himself without a job, so he decides he's going to go back to college, get a degree in something he can do for a new job. Meanwhile, the town is holding a hearing on what to do with the money that they got from the lawsuit. In the middle of this town meeting, they're interrupted by a slick businessman who suggests they build a monorail.
Okay.
I wanted to replace the monorail with something else, but it was too good.
Roller coaster if you want, or a monorail.
Yeah. So there's an impromptu song. They all decide on it, get very excited. Construction actually begins. Part of the plan is to span Springfield Gorge to connect to Shelbyville. So it's very exciting. One night, Homer's out with his college drinking buddies, just being hooligans. And they discover that the track across the gorge is partially finished. His roommate says he can ride a scooter across it and land it on the other side. And everybody's like, no way, that's too dangerous.
Yeah.
He does it, and he's successful. He lands it on the other side, but he's suddenly grabbed by an angry Shelbyville mob. They don't want the monorail to be built. They hold him hostage. Torches and pitchforks and all that. Homer takes the conveniently placed escalator right next to the track, down into the gorge, takes another one up to the other side. He asks Shelbyville to release his roommate. They politely agree, send him back home. The friends head back to the dorm, and they discover that Burns has bought the college while they were gone and completely rebuilt the nuclear power plant on its grounds. The end.
All right, I like it a lot. So we're very tongue in cheek, like hitting on a bunch of classic episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
Monorail,
perfect.
jumping the gorge.
Yeah.
Oh, and the isotopes.
Yeah, with the hunger strike. Yeah,
which is one of my favorite Simpsons jokes ever. Where Homer's on the hunger strike and he's hallucinating and he sees this ghostly figure appear and he says, "Who are you?" And he saes, "I am the ghost of Cesar Chavez."
Yeah.
He says, "Why do you look like Cesar Romero?" Because you don't know what Cesar Chavez looks like. Which is, it's comedy, peak comedy for me.
Oh, I know. Seasons one through actually, in my opinion, kind of 3 through about 8.
Yeah,
3 through 10 ish is where But people still seem to like it. The youth seems to like whatever the Simpsons are doing now. They seem to get numbers. But
Yeah, actually, Ellie's been watching a lot of Simpsons.
new Simpsons?
More new Simpsons than I would like, but they definitely go back and watch old ones too.
Yeah.
Around this time, like around Halloween, they always go back and rewatch all the Treehouse of Horrors too.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I like it. I think that's a very good pitch.
Nice.
I would pitch that to the I don't even know who's show running that thing anymore.
At this point, it's possible that the people writing it have no memory of any of these prior episodes.
It's very well.
So maybe it could work.
Could work.
It has been like 42 seasons or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Bonkers. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, and I don't have anything else, then
Nay,
I
I
think
do not.
okay, I think we can call it on Grimm, story number 85, The Golden Children. Till the next time in the next tale, may you dream sweet dreams of today's sponsor, running home scared because some hayseed good old boy Hicks made fun of you. Sleep tight, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
The Brothers Dim podcast is written by the Brothers Dim. Recording engineering is done by Mike, and sound editing and mastering by Phil. Brothers Dim podcasts are copyrighted by the Brothers Dim and available at brothersdim.com, on Blue Sky at Brothers Dim, and wherever you get your podcasts.